Hi, this is Stephanie Wolf, Training and Development Specialist with Indiana Furniture. Today we're going to talk a little bit about some Square One enhancements. Before we jump into the new additions to the Square One product line, let's talk a little bit about the finishes. There's no changes to the finishes that are going to be available on the blocks, the hardware, the acoustic panels, or the acrylic insert panels. But I do want to point out that since we are adding planter boxes, those are going to be available in all of the TFL finishes that you see here on your screen. And yes, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but planter boxes are going to be available in TFL standard. Okay, first up, we're going to talk about our acrylic inserts and how those are going to change a little bit moving forward. So if you're familiar with Square One, the original Square One series, you'll know that the acrylic inserts had a small tab built into the acrylic insert panel where you would flex the acrylic just a little bit and set those tabs into the square with those sort of landing in the little holes where the bolts go to connect Square One together. What we found was that in the field, they weren't always sitting in there as well as we would have liked. So we've changed the design of those a little bit. The tabs that were on those in the past are now gone. They're just going to be a square for the 24-inch sizes and a rectangle for the 12 by 24-inch sizes. And then you are going to receive the insert retainer clips in with the acrylic insert order. So the idea with these insert retainers is that there will be a page of double stick tape that is the size of the bolt hole that is part of Square One. The installer will set that double-sided tape down in there, peel off the side so to reveal the sticky, and then the insert retainer clip will just fit right down in there on that double stick tape. Then the acrylic will set into those insert retainers. It will be more secure moving forward, and it just has a little bit of a cleaner aesthetic. So that is what the acrylic inserts are going to be like moving forward. Now, acoustic inserts, they in the past were not available. We only had set-on acoustics. So those would attach, to the outside of the square. These are going to set into the squares. So the difference is these actually will have a little bit of a bend to them and set inside the squares securely. It's going to be sort of a secure fit when those set in there. So a little bit different than the acrylic inserts. There won't be a tab, but they are going to sit in there with sort of a pressure fit kind of idea. All right. So then next up, we have added some beams and caps. Now, I do want to point out, I want to make sure this isn't confusing. So on the page you see here in front of you, and also as part of the handout, you might see these referred to as rails. You're not going to find that particular word in the price list anywhere. So just want you to understand that those are really just finish pieces. They could be an X connector, they could be a T, they could be a corner post or an end cap. And really what that's going to do is give the ability to finish off a single square. We did not have this particular size before. So now, like you see here in the line drawing on the screen, you're going to be able to finish off that end if you want to do one of those like high-low stair step kind of designs in a space. So it's just going to kind of complete the line a little bit and make sure that we have a nice finish to those those different designs that are not more than one high. All right, and then the last thing on this page is our planter boxes. For those of you at NeoCon, or for those of you who have done the virtual tour on our website, you know that we now have planter boxes for Square One. So, like I mentioned before, these are going to be constructed of TFL. If you have a customer who wants it made of a different material, high pressure laminate or veneer, you can certainly reach out to our custom quote department for that. But as a standard, they will be constructed in TFL. Now, here's another thing that's a little bit different about the planter boxes. They're going to ship with the bolts that you need to secure them to the Square One product, to the block. They're going to ship with both black and nickel. So you're not going to have to uh, distinguish which one you're using for the project. The installer can just choose the one that goes with the rest of the product whenever they're installing it. So I've got the box dimensions on here. There will be a optional insert. So if your end user is actually going to use real plants, they'll want that insert to set down in the planter box to protect the unit from getting water or dirt or anything on it. Um, it's it's a separate item. It does not come with the planter box, but they can order it if they want it. And then the grain direction is shown here on the screen as well. So know that that's going to run horizontal if you use a wood grain laminate. And then also know that the holes are pre-drilled in the bottom of the planter box. So there's really not a way to install these incorrectly. They're just going to bolt right down into the Square One bolt holes that are already there with the Square One blocks. Next up, we have the barn door. So the barn door again was introduced at NeoCon. Lots of great comments about the barn door. So a few things about this. When you order the barn door, it will be either a left or a right, and it will be the entire wall. So you're not just getting the door and the hardware that goes with it, and then need to order, the walls that go on either side of it. You're going to get that entire wall. So you're looking at 10-foot wide by 8-foot tall, and that's just going to be standard for the barn door. And then that will connect to our U-shaped typical that we already had in our price list previously. Now you will find a new typical, just like you see here in the price list and online, where you can just order it as the typical to make sure that you get everything that you need. Couple things to note. The hardware for the barn door, that rail along the top, it's kind of hard to see on the screen there, but it will always be in black. So that is all that we have at this time. So that's going to be black unless you were to submit a custom quote request and we could see about getting it in a different color. But for the most part, that's probably always going to be in black until we're able to source something else. You can order left open or right open. And here's the thing about the wall. So you're going to get that whole wall that you see there kind of in blue. However, you're not going to get the inserts that are required to go into that wall. Because we don't know exactly what your customer is doing. They may want acoustic inserts, they might want acrylic inserts, or they might want a combination of the two, just depending upon what their design idea is for the space. So the typical will need to be ordered, and then at a minimum, 20 panels will have to be ordered. And that's just taking into account that they don't want any panels on the U unit. So just keep in mind the wall where the door is absolutely has to have insert panels specified to go with it. And that is really for safety. If someone had their hand in and someone else came and opened the door really quickly, it could cause a pinch point and could hurt someone. So it's really a safety feature. So we want to make sure that, everyone is safe whenever they're using the Square One product. Something else to note is that it is a soft close and soft open door. So it shouldn't like bang closed or bang open. It should have a nice soft close to it, which is a nice feature. Okay, and then another thing I want to mention, I didn't say this in the previous slide, but I do want to make sure that everyone understands that the acoustic panels, I talked about how they used to be set on, so they kind of attach to the outside of the squares instead of being an inset. We do still have the onset panels, but we now have the inset as well. So those will be notated separately in the price list. So just want to make that clear that we didn't discontinue anything. We just added two. And then the last thing that was sort of added to the line is the dry erase board, and it's actually the same dry erase board that we had in the past. However, we've changed the drill holes on the back so that it can be hung either horizontally or vertically. In the past, it could only be hung horizontally, so now we can actually hang that vertically as well. And we did start taking orders for the new Square One enhancements on Monday, October 7th. If you have any questions about any of the new products or changes to Square One, please reach out to your customer service rep, or you can reach out directly to me. Thank you so much for your time.